Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into some really critical research here. Stuff that honestly feels like the foundation for anyone serious about corporate innovation.
Yeah, absolutely. And the focus today, it's really nailing down the culture you need, making innovation strategic, not just lucky.
Exactly. Lucky doesn't scale. So, the mission.
Well, for you listening, someone likely navigating these big, complex organizations, we want to focus on the operational side, the managerial relevance.
Right. We got to get past the cliches, right? The beanbags versus cubicles thing.
Totally. We need to look at the frameworks, the actual theory, the marketing angles.
Yeah.
The stuff that makes a difference in practice.
And the data here hits hard right away. This isn't small stuff we're talking about.
Not at all.
Companies that really nail inclusive practices, what they call innovation by all, I mean, everyone involved.
Yeah.
They see 5.5 times the revenue growth. 5.5x.
Wow. Okay, so that definitely frames it differently. It makes culture a core strategic lever, doesn't it? Not just some soft skill.
Precisely. But if you're going to pull that lever, you need to understand what you're up against. Like, what is organizational culture, really?
Good question. Fundamentally, it's the shared stuff, right? The values, beliefs, norms. But often, it's unspoken, implicit.
The how things really get done around here vibe.
Exactly. It's like that iceberg metaphor,
Yeah.
Most of it's underwater, hidden. And that's why changing it feels so incredibly difficult. There's this massive inertia.
That hidden nature.
Yeah.
That's why just changing the org chart or writing new process docs often fails, isn't it?
It is, because you're fighting against powerful psychological and social pressures. People tend towards conformity.
Which brings us to this bandwagon effect concept.
Yes, the bandwagon effect. It basically formalizes that pressure. It rewards fitting in, aligning with the status quo.
And that can stifle critical thinking, make people blind to things that aren't optimal.
Absolutely. Think about, say, a culture of habitually long hours. People might do it not because it makes them more productive.
But because everyone else does it. It's the unspoken rule.
Precisely. New hires see it, they conform, they worry about the social cost, the career cost if they don't play along, even if the practice itself is kind of dumb.
Okay, so that sets up the big challenge, doesn't it? If culture is so deep, so resistant, maybe even a bit political, what can leaders actually do? What are the specific, measurable things, the culture drivers, that foster both creativity and that necessary accountability?
Well, the research points to a couple of foundational enablers. Let's start with the first one, which can feel pretty counterintuitive in results-driven places.
Okay.
Psychological safety and failure tolerance.
Ah, right. The idea that it has to be okay to fail.
More than okay. It has to be seen as a learning opportunity. Innovation is risky, inherently. So if failure is punished or seen as career-limiting...
People just won't take the necessary risks. They'll play it safe.
Exactly. Leading companies actively reframe failure. It's not something to avoid. It's data.
Yeah.
It's learning.
There's that example from Ryan, LLC, right? Where leaders actually share their own failure stories in training.
Yeah, that's a powerful way to model vulnerability. It gives permission.
But here's the tension, isn't it? Corporates need predictability. Quarterly results. How do you square this permission space for experimentation, as MIT Sloan calls it, with the pressure to cut losses fast?
That's the managerial tightrope. You square it by shifting what you measure, at least initially. Instead of immediate ROI, you measure learning velocity.
Learning velocity. Okay.
What did we learn from this experiment even though it failed? What knowledge did we gain? If you demand that learning plan up front, failure becomes less of a dead end and more of a data point.
Okay, so that permission space, that safety, that naturally connects to the second big enabler.
It does, which is diversity and this idea of innovation by all.
Because breakthrough ideas often come from unexpected places, combining things from different fields, different perspectives. Franz Janssen wrote about that, the Medici effect.
Precisely. If your innovation process only listens to the usual suspects, your core R&D team, perhaps,
you're leaving that 5.5x growth potential on the table, deliberately.
And making this real requires more than just saying, we value diversity. It needs actual strategies.
Like the 7 strategies mentioned in the sources, giving people different types of space.
Yes, and that's not just physical space, like cool offices. It's also about mental space.
Which makes that 1-800-CONTACTS example really stand out, offering financial wellness training.
Right, helping employees with debt, mortgages, planning. It reduces external stress. It clears up cognitive bandwidth.
So people can actually focus, bring their whole selves, their best thinking to work.
Exactly. And operationally, you have to actively cultivate diverse interactions.
Like the Farmers Insurance CEO example.
Yeah.
Building that cross-functional crisis team.
Yeah, Jeff Daly pulling in HR, legal, comms alongside the usual operations folks.
Yeah.
Those unlikely combinations, they lead to much more robust, comprehensive strategies. It proves the power of mixing perspectives.
Okay, so you've set the stage with safety and diverse input. But someone needs to steer the ship, maintain standards. That brings us to leadership and this idea of innovation parenting.
Yeah, it's a useful metaphor. It captures the balance leaders need to strike. It's about providing both roots and wings.
Roots and wings, explain that.
Well, the roots are about grounding people. Accountability, linking creativity back to core business objectives, ensuring people have the right skills.
So keeping it connected to reality.
Right. But then you also need the wings. That's the broad discretion, the trust. Avoiding that micromanagement trap, especially around early stage budgets or tight deadlines that can just suffocate a fragile new idea.
It reminds me of that Corning story, the CEO challenging the team.
Oh, yeah. Wendell Weeks. An engineer proposes a really strong 25% efficiency gain.
Which is already great.
Totally. But Weeks asks, why not 50%?
Which probably felt impossible.
Maybe, but that kind of stretch goal, it forces people out of incremental thinking. It demands something unconventional. It signals both immense trust and incredibly high expectations.
So high expectations are good, but there's a flip side, right? Something about how organizations often undermine their own efforts.
Yes. This leads to a really crucial, counterintuitive point about indigestion.
Indigestion, like too much food.
Exactly. The conventional wisdom says organizations fail because they don't have enough good ideas, enough projects.
But the research suggests that's wrong.
Fundamentally wrong, often. Organizations frequently die from having too many projects. A surfeit.
How does that work? Too many projects sounds like a good problem to have.
It sounds good, but it leads to starvation. Resources get spread too thin. Projects cannibalize each other for attention and staffing.
Ah, so that brilliant scientist you mentioned, if they're only assigned 5% or 15% of their time to a really promising project.
There's no real ownership, is there? Progress crawls, the team gets frustrated, things just languish because they're under-resourced. There's no deep immersion.
So the actionable advice here is focus, like really focus.
A radical focus.
Right.
The suggestion is often that key people, like scientists or engineers, should probably stick to maybe 2 main projects.
Not one.
Not 1 necessarily. That can lead to getting stuck or bored. But not 3 or more either, because that guarantees you're spread too thin.
2 allows for deep work on one, but a place to shift mental energy if you hit a wall on the primary one.
Exactly. It's about operational discipline allowing for that deep dive.
And that discipline, that focus, it connects back to making sure everyone can contribute.
Right.
Democratizing ideas.
Yes. Making it simple and accessible for anyone, anywhere in the organization, to bring forward an idea or a solution. Not just the folks in R&D or strategy.
Like that Texas Health Resources example with their question and resolve tool.
Precisely. A tool that basically flattens hierarchy for idea sharing. Colleagues can comment, collaborate, improve designs or processes together.
Tapping into the collective intelligence.
That's the goal.
Okay, this feels like a good point to pivot slightly towards the critique. We've talked a lot about the enabling conditions, the soft stuff maybe, safety, collaboration.
Right, but innovation needs execution too. The hard stuff.
Which brings us face to face with the paradox of innovative cultures.
Yes, because the research is pretty clear. The most innovative cultures aren't just loosey-goosey creative havens. They're this intense combination of opposites.
Opposites
Like freedom and discipline, creativity and responsibility. You need that psychological safety, that tolerance for failure we talked about. But you absolutely cannot tolerate incompetence. The bar for performance, for accountability, has to be set incredibly high.
Kind of like the demanding environments you hear about with leaders like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. High expectations, high accountability.
That's the kind of paradoxical tension often required. It's not easy.
No kidding. And that raises a huge practical question. If that's the standard, but your current leadership perhaps benefits from the status quo.
Yeah.
How on earth do you actually change the culture? You can't just order people to think differently, especially if they're comfortable.
You really can't. And Simon Sinek has some great insights here, particularly for you as a practitioner facing this.
Yep.
You likely can't change the minds of deeply entrenched, finite-minded leaders directly.
So what can you do? Feels a bit hopeless.
It's not hopeless, but it requires shifting your strategy. Focus on what you can control. First, be the leader you wish you had. Model that infinite mindset yourself.
Lead by example.
Lead by example. And second, play the long game. Build your bench. Identify and nurture the next generation of leaders who do get it.
This isn't a quick fix then.
Not at all. Think 15, maybe 20 years. You're cultivating the future leadership that will eventually shift the center of gravity.
Wow, okay. 15 and 20 years. So if it's a marathon, not a sprint, how do you even take the first steps? Especially if you know most people might be resistant or cynical.
This is where understanding the law of diffusion of innovations becomes absolutely critical for your change strategy.
Okay, the diffusion curve.
Yeah.
Innovators, early adopters.
Exactly. The law tells us you don't get mass adoption, that cultural tipping point, until you reach about 15 to 18% market penetration. You have to cross that chasm.
And if you try to roll out culture change, like a mandatory corporate training program,
You'll fail. You'll maybe get 10% compliance, max. The pragmatic majority, the cynics, they just won't engage willingly. They'll wait and see or actively resist.
so the strategy is counterintuitive again.
Very. You have to ignore the cynical majority, at least initially.
Ignore them.
Yes. Focus all your energy, all your resources on the early adopters, that first 12 to 13% who are naturally enthusiastic, who believe in the change, who are willing to invest their own time and energy.
The volunteers. The ones who get it.
Them. And you make participation voluntary, but maybe even a little bit difficult.
It's difficult. Why?
To test commitment. Make them write a short essay to join the Innovation Council, maybe meet on a Saturday, maybe put in some extra hours. It self-selects for the truly motivated.
And then you empower them.
You invite them to build the new way with you. It becomes grassroots, organic. It gains credibility because it wasn't just mandated from the top down.
That makes sense. It builds momentum from the inside out. Okay, let's connect this to the longer game. Talent strategy. How does the ASA framework fit in? Attraction, selection, attrition.
ASA really underlines how culture is fundamentally shaped by who you bring into the organization, who thrives, and who leaves.
So it starts with being clear about the culture you want.
Absolutely. You have to articulate that dream culture first. What are the specific behaviors required? Not just skills, but deep level stuff like collaboration, bias consciousness, accountability.
And then you build your hiring and promotion processes around that.
Exactly. The Royal Bank of Canada example is great here. They didn't just hire and promote based on performance numbers.
They look for those cultural values too. Inclusiveness, bias awareness.
Yes. They selected for it, and crucially, they promoted people who demonstrated those behaviors consistently. That sends a powerful signal.
So you're essentially marketing your values to attract the right kind of talent, the entrepreneurial, innovative people you need.
Precisely. And over time, through attraction, selection, and attrition, the organization's culture gradually shifts towards that desired state. It reinforces itself.
Okay, let's try to synthesize this. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. I think the big shift we're seeing is moving beyond relying solely on, say, a dedicated R&D department for innovation.
Towards that innovation by all.
Right. And making that work requires these systems, these operational approaches that tackle things like project indigestion while still demanding really high performance.
And for leaders, the real strategic work seems to be managing that paradox we talked about.
That's it. Operationalizing that blend of psychological safety and intense individual accountability, it's a balancing act.
So culture isn't just fluff. We've seen it's the absolute bedrock, maybe the ultimate competitive advantage.
I believe it is, but it's not built overnight with posters and pronouncement.
No, it's disciplined, long-term, often bottom-up work, and it hinges on winning over those crucial early adopters first.
Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe a challenge for you listening.
Go for it.
If innovation truly is strategic, not accidental, take a hard look at your current systems. Which reward structures, which recognition programs might actually be reinforcing the status quo? Which ones might be inadvertently punishing the very early adopters you need most?
Ooh, that's a tough question. What rewards conformity over courageous attempts?
Exactly. And it leads to this provocative thought. What might actually happen? What could you unlock if you redesign recognition to actively reward high-risk, high-learning failures?
Thanks for tuning into the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas worth talking about. We'll see you next time.